Hello and good afternoon. Welcome everyone to another Seer 365 session. Today I am joined by not one but two special guests. We've got Phil from Yavrio.
Hi everyone, good to be here.
And we've got Laura from Creative Computing Solutions.
Hello, thank you for having me.
No, my pleasure. So today we are going to be talking through the future of open banking. We're going to be providing a little bit of an overview around Yavrio and what you do and what you deliver. And Laura, I believe you've got some information about what it's like to work with Yavrio from your own experiences.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Excellent. Okay, so what I will do is hand it over to yourself, Phil, and take it away.
Thanks so much, Rufus, and hey everyone, good to be here. Pleasure to join for another webinar. The second of many, I'm sure. As a reintroduction, so I'm Phil, and we've got Laura here from Creative Computing as well. We actually started our roles in relatively similar time, so I thought it'd be great to bring Laura into this webinar, as we've had sort of similar exposure into the dynamic space, but also just the journey that we've been on together as Microsoft partners. So, but in terms of what I'll be covering, so I'll just be covering some of the legacy financial processes, what Yavrio is doing to address that, with a sneak peek into the solution that we have for our F&O partners, and then a little Q&A afterwards. So in terms of the, well, I'll actually back up a little bit in case you don't know how Yavrio started. So our CEO, John Lewis, not the department store. I do that, by the way. If this is recorded, I do that on every call. So we'll play bingo, see how many you can get. Yeah, exactly. So John Lewis, as a Dynamics consultant himself for the past 12 years or so, was tired of legacy systems when it comes to integrating banks. If you've used particularly with the micro merchants or smaller companies that are using other accounting systems where you can get a direct feed from the bank, and then all of a sudden you upgrade into Dynamics 365 Business Central or F&O, you are somewhat penalized in terms of your banking security strategy, because you will have to be using files to get in, but also send out some of the most sensitive data that you will deal with. And so John wanted to tackle that head on by creating Yavrio. And so starting on Business Central, we are the UK's first open banking provider that can allow transactions to come in as well as balances, but also payments out, and being a multi-payment rail solution, areas that I'll cover in just a moment. But to go into the legacy finance processing space that we're in, what are we seeing today? I kind of alluded to it just now. We've got the manual bank access. So you're going to have finance professionals that are working overtime just to make month end in that manual reconciliation process. You've got the CSV downloads. So 30% of time spent by finance teams is used on bringing in transactions into the system itself. That is getting your statements, downloading it. You might think it's fine for a few transactions, but actually to save it onto your drive, bringing it into your system, and then start the reconciliation process is time that I think, especially in the world of AI, I think there's just better solutions out there. And not even including AI, there's just better solutions out there to automate that. And then you've got the data and security. So in terms of the security gains that you get with Yavrio, you're going to be making your money back tenfold when it comes to, if you're comparing it to the vulnerability of any type of payment fraud that is initiated. So to put this into perspective, it's actually pretty easy to doctor files, and you can download a journal, you can doctor that journal, upload it to the bank, process that payment, get that bank statement back, doctor it back to what it was before, upload it to the system, and then perform the reconciliation. And then it looks like on paper that everything is squared off. But if you have that direct feed to the bank, you're going to be taking away human behavior. So it's just going to be a lot more secure. And so over the next 3 years, between 23 and 28, we'll be expecting a $362 billion merchant loss just through payment fraud, which should, as a partner, lead you to ask all of your clients, what is your banking security strategy? I know we're implementing complicated financial processes. We're also looking at other areas of that system. But if banking security is not part of the questions, it definitely needs to be.
I mean, that's bigger than some markets out there, 360 billion. That's crazy.
Exactly. Now, our solution is summarized into 2 areas, cash ops and bank feeds. I'll actually start with bank feeds first. But in terms of how our bank feeds are defined, we get your live banking data from your bank that will populate into your bank cards for your balances. And then you'll also be able to pull in your transactions for that reconciliation process, whether you use that out of the box or through our enhanced Magic Bank Rec. It's called Magic Bank Rec because we couldn't think of a better name. So yeah, if you do think of a better name, let me know. But so far, we've not heard a better one just yet. The other form of connectivity, so we've been sitting in the open banking space for quite a long time, but actually as we've expanded into different regions, we've found that banks do not adopt open banking to the same degree as the UK. We know the UK. I mean, I say we know. If you've used Yavrio, if you've used any type of open banking connectivity, you know that not all banks are made equal, and UK is actually held to a gold standard by the Middle East, which is, in my eyes, crazy. But actually, if you go into these other regions, you find that a lot of these banks are sorely lacking in terms of what they can offer for third parties. So what we offer is also a premium treasury connection, same user experience as what you'd have in open banking, but where the banks are limited in their open banking architecture, we can actually do a hardwire into their treasury system, not to be confused, by the way, with SFTP, because it's still files, and we are kind of against files. I'll explain why in a moment. And then in terms of the cash ops, so we do embedded payments, and this is going to be your these are going to be your multi-payment rail solution. So if you're in the UK, that could be faster payments, it could be BACS, and if you're on the premium treasury connection, that could also include CHAPS and so others that I'm forgetting as I speak. But if you're in the US, you've got ACH, FedNow, Wire, RTP. And then in the Middle East, they have their own form of like ACH. But all that to say, there's a plethora of payment rails that you can attach to, and Yavrio can help you leverage that and have a direct feed into or out of that finance system for those fileless payments. Then you've got the embedded payments inbound. Now this is where I mean, it's as it says on the tin, you've got your payments outbound, that's you pushing payments out, but then you've got being able to receive payments. So one thing which we're really excited about is our direct debit management system. We've already started rolling out to a few of our customers, whereby they can trigger a payment directly within the system off of an invoice and have your payments come into your bank account, and it just streamlines the whole financial process, especially in that reconciliation process as well, where you've got to marry up these bulk payments that you're pulling in via direct debit. And then one that is close to my heart, card payment collection. So I actually come from a card payment space, and so being able to offer our customers the ability to have virtual terminals that integrate into the finance system is very exciting, particularly for me. So I'm on that project. If you have any questions about that or any requests, then do let me know. we are debating whether to roll this out first for the UK or the US, I should say. So if you think I should be in the UK more than the US, then I would like to hear why, because right now the US is chomping at the bit for it. So I am responding to the loudest voice. And then you've got I'm waffling a lot. So I'll just wrap up this cash ops piece where you've got the security. Now, when you're making your payments from your system, very often the banks, at their discretion, will do an IBAN check or a modulus check where they'll just find out if the bank details are technically correct. Not all the time. Sometimes they just try and honor it. If you've used Monzo, or if you're with any type of personal banking where you've set up a new payee and then you go to send them money and it does this match where it matches the account number and sort code against the name, that is what's called a confirmation of payee. And it's a very specific piece of tech that we are bringing into the system itself, where you can not just have those details where you can find out if they're technically correct, but you can also verify that against a name. Why is that better? Well, it just stops anybody from just changing the details to their own details with the same name, so that you're none the wiser. Actually, you'll be able to marry up the bank details against the name itself. So a little bit more enhanced security. I just remember I didn't cover the Magic Bank Rec. So in terms of the Magic Bank Rec, we have our own reconciliation engine, which can run in the background, and it's a little bit more enhanced than the likes of what is out of the box in F&O and BC, as well as Copilot. So whilst you may have the ability to marry up against some more of the invoices, there's a lot more accuracy, and there can be a lot of nuance towards description that we'll be able to pick up. And we've run it through the test. We've paid invoices in 1,000 separate payments, and it's been able to marry them up and reconcile that. So pretty exciting stuff. We have a video which I can show you not on this call. So any questions, then just reach out to me. But then go into our North Star. So we talk about this quite a lot internally. We always, any decision we make, it has to reinforce against our North Star, which is 0 setup, 0 config, 0 training, and 0 files. Now, in terms of the setup, you're already working on a very complicated system, and we want the Yavrio piece to be the easiest thing that you implement. We also want it to be the easiest app that your users will use. So we like to pride ourselves on being a non-agnostic application. So that means we care about the system that we sit on. We want to understand Business Central. We want to understand F&O. And so we would hope that you would value the, I guess, the intuitive nature of how the app sits within your environment. And then 0 files. This is the thing that I care about, probably one of the most. So there's a meme pending, by the way, on my LinkedIn. So that's going to be released shortly about these files. Now, files are, in my opinion, problematic when it comes to sensitive data. I won't mention the name of this fintech. They're not particularly in the ERP space, but in November, they have SF. They leverage SFTPs, host-to-host connections, and despite the security that you would expect around that, they had 400 gigabytes worth of financial data stolen in November 2024. And so even if there is a file that exists, it's still sitting somewhere. And so we don't want any files whatsoever. Now, I'll just mention this. If you want to know, how far we've come since files, we've got our APIs, but if you want to keep using files, they were invented in 1973. Which, to put into perspective, the French guillotine was still being used at that time. So I'd like to think we're not living in those ages anymore, unless you want to, in which case don't meet me. Now, from there, I will stop waffling. I'm going to hand back to Rufus, and then after Rufus and Laura have had a chat, I will be glad to show you a little bit of the solution.
No, thank you, Phil. That was a really nice overview, and I think especially what you said around security. I think it sounds like the UK government might need some of your solutions as well. So particularly topical today, I think. But Laura, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate that. I mean, in terms of sort of where to begin today, how did you come across Yavrio? What was going on that sort of made you go to market to look for an open banking provider?
Yeah, I think obviously what Phil's touched on the fact of the security piece and the fact that in other softwares, in smaller softwares as well, that is that direct connection to your bank is a given. People get that as standard. So when you come to Business Central and it's not there, and given actually the level of importance that it has for companies, from a security aspect, from an efficiency aspect, the fact that it's not there, people assume that it's there. I've had people on calls say to me, like, when they're listing off, their list of things that they want, and I assume there's a bank feed and things like that. And I'm like, no, there's not. It's just not a great sell. It is definitely something where if you're talking about gaps in a software, that is a gap for sure in Business Central. And it can have quite, serious impacts from the security aspect. So I think it was a big gap that needed to be filled. And Yavrio have positioned themselves fantastically on this because they get it, they get the issue, they get the problem, and rather than trying to fix this problem and a load of others, they've gone, this is the issue we're going to fix, and they're fixing it well. So that's really why we started to look and how we came to Yavrio.
No, that's awesome. And I think you kind of touched upon it there, but it's also about you as a partner in terms of your competitive go-to-market, right? If you haven't got an answer for something as core as bank feeds, you're not going to win Microsoft opportunities in the same way that some of the competing ERPs that do have that out of the box can.
Yeah, exactly. It is a real downfall, and the fact that we turn to partners when there are things that Business Central doesn't solve or we can't solve, just like that. So having a partner that has this solution pre-made, ready to go is really important because it's something that our customers need. So yeah, we definitely turned to them straight away as soon as we knew about them.
Awesome. And on the topic of sort of ready to go, I mean, how was your experience of working with the team at Yavrio?
Yeah, I've got to say they are brilliant. I do, not just to kind of big them up or anything, they are very good at what they do. Phil mentioned the kind of ease in terms of implementation. One of the things that we love is that it is customer led. It ensures the integrity and the security of the implementation because it obviously requires someone with the appropriate security access to their bank to be able to set it up. It's really simple, it's really straightforward and quick. You're literally following a few steps and you're hooked up to your bank. And also, I think the support that I've personally had from the team at Yavrio, my customers, I've had one recently where they've had about 30 banks to connect up to. It was quite a lot that needed to be done. They had a lot of companies. And Charlotte and Phil were fantastic throughout the entire process, from demoing at the start, listening to what the customers' issues were, doing the demos and everything, and then helping them set it up at the end. They were fantastic, and any questions that I had or my customer had, they were right there to answer. So yeah, I really appreciated it.
Excellent. Having known Phil for a while, I'm not in the least bit surprised in terms of the team going the extra mile. I'm not just saying that because he's here, but no, that's really, really good to hear. And from a customer point of view as well, I mean, what was the feedback like?
Yeah, I mean, they're really happy because it does exactly what it says on the tin. Like I said, they don't try to be other things. They are doing exactly what they say they do, which is connecting directly to your bank. They're happy because they feel a lot more comfortable making their payments and bringing their bank statements in. They're a lot more comfortable from the security aspect. Also, the fact that they have to do this for quite a lot of companies, it's quicker for them. And we have a few of our customers who are doing this for multiple companies and multiple bank accounts, so they're happier. I think our customers are definitely happier and feel more comfortable and safe using Yavrio and what they do.
Yeah. I was absolutely blown away, Phil, in your presentation earlier about, what was it, 87% of finance professionals working overtime? I mean, Laura, were there any, you mentioned sort of time savings.
Yeah.
Were there any kind of numbers that you could put around that, or
I
other
mean,
kind of experiences?
I don't know the exact numbers, if I'm being completely honest. I'm sure they've saved a lot of time, but I just know they're happier. And for me, that's, if I'm going to ever put, a partner in front of my customers, I want to have trust in them that they're going to do a good job, and that ultimately it's going to make my customer happy. And that's exactly what they've done. So as long as they're happy, I'm happy. And yeah, I think that's exactly what Yabrio did with a lot of my customers.
That's really, really good to hear. There's a pain point. Yabrio provide a nice, straightforward solution, and it solves it.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. No, thank you, Laura. I'm conscious of time, and Phil, I want to give you a little bit of time to do your run through as well. So I'll put the ball back in your court.
Perfect. Thanks so much. So I'm just going to take you through a very high level overview of how the solution works. So in order to get set up, all you do is you just contact us. We'll send you the file that you can deploy into your customer's environment. And then you'll see on the user management page, you'll see that I am signed in as Delphine. I'm actually Swiss, and Delphine is my alter ego. But if it's your first time using Yabrio, you'll just select Yabrio registration, fill out your company details, or if you're going into another company or another environment, but it's the same credentials, then you can just log in this way here. Now, going back to the main menu, to connect your bank accounts, all you do is you go into your bank card, and then what you can do is if you select the bank card here, then you can, under this Yabrio button here, you can click on Connect Bank Account. You'll then select the country of your institution. Now, we connect to about 12,000 so far. And so it's helpful to select the country. Now, for the purposes of this, I'm going to test out a NatWest Bank sandbox. It's a sandbox, so health warning on this one. Now, you'll get a QR code and a link to here to say connect to banks. If you come out of here, you've now come out of the system, and we're going to go into the bank portal. It's important that your customers know that, because we don't want to store any login credentials when it comes to connecting your bank. Then if we select it here, this is my account. This is Laura's account. Let's bring in Laura's, this £980 million account here. If we click confirm, and by the way, if you've got multiple accounts, you can select them both and bring them in one execution. And then going back in to the system, we can open up this drop down here, select the relevant bank account card, click that we're accepting this license, and then we would go ahead and link the account. You see a nice logo here. You can see my millions, Laura's millions, populated here. Now, just to go off of this BACS service user number and BACS payment profile ID, what does this mean? This is not provided by the bank. We are actually partnered with the BACS Bureau to be able to initiate fileless BACS payments. Why have we done that? Your customers might not want to send faster payments. They're quite expensive in comparison to what you're typically charged with BACS. Paid by the, enforced by the bank, by the way. It's not an us charge thing. It's all the bank. So what we do is we send you some more instructions on getting your service user number connected to the bureau. Your bank would do that, and then we'd create the profile ID, and then we would go from there. And then next, once you've connected the account, I will just mention, if you do want to disconnect, you can just remove consent here and then just get rid of that connection. So we're not going to make you jump through hoops just to stop using Yabrio, although we don't think you will. Then if we go into the bank statements, you will see a get transaction from bank symbol here. Now, I need to create a new statement here. And then we're going to click on Get Transactions from Bank, and let's just pull in the month of June. You select the date range, and then you click on Import Transactions. No new transactions for this time. I think I've posted some. That's probably why. So let's come out. Oh, it's actually a bit of a feature. Now, when you if you do decide to get your transactions in, then we don't duplicate your transactions. Every transaction has a unique code, which means, yeah, you're not going to duplicate your transactions if you're trying to perform a reconciliation. So we're going to click on Get Transactions from Bank. Let's just, because this is a very healthy account, I'm just going to pull in the last day's worth of transactions. And then once confirmed, it seems that NatWest doesn't want to give me any transactions. I told you this one would have a health warning. I'm just going to pull in one more time. I know we've got 4 minutes left, so I'm just going to try this one last time. And then we're going to pull in.
They're almost too secure.
It's so secure. Yeah, it's not seems to be finding any transactions for NatWest, but this is where your transactions would come in. From there, you can go to your worksheet after confirming, and then you would start the reconciliation process that way. This would be out of the box workflows that you have already set up, unless you were using the Magic Bank Rec. Now, going to the vendor payment journal. If we go into this one here, not the vendor. If we go into here, we can see a journal that I've made just with standard workflows. We've got here a button that says Embedded Payments, and then you're going to click on Send Payments to Bank. Now, this will, you'll then select BACS, and then you will schedule the payment date to go into, it's T+2 settlement times, it's just standard BACS settlements. From there, you click on Send Payments, and then what will happen is you'll see this go to awaiting authorization. So we've successfully raised the payment, and the authorizer is now being prompted to authorize these funds to be released. So if we refresh this and go into it, and by the way, if you've got multiple companies, you can select the company regardless of what system you're on, by the way. If you have one company on BC and one on F&O, you can even bounce between the two, because this is just that final stage before you release those funds. And then you'll go here, and then you'll see the details of your vendor payment journal and the status of the authorization, where the money is coming from, who the money is going to, and who is raising that payment. From there, this just links to your Outlook, and therefore it will also link to your Authenticator app. So I'm going to go into mine, and then we're going to wait for the ticker to go, because that would panic me if I tried to do that now. 969034. And then you'll see that the payment has been authorized. We can see that I've also authorized it. If you do go into your user management, so you can control how many authorizers you have. You can also create rules that whoever is submitting the payment from the finance system can't also be the one to release those funds. Some security measures in place for companies, particularly at a larger scale. You can also control the users that you have and the roles, the permissions that they have, and yeah, the max auth value to release funds from. And then once the system has been, I mean, I'm not using real money, so I think if I click on get payment status, it's going to say pending, but once the funds have landed, these funds won't land, so this will say failed, but it would then say completed, and then you can go ahead and use the standard workflows that you've got set up in posting them. So that's the overview. I mean, it's a very simple, it's simple to understand. We connect your bank, will get your transactions. With a real bank account, it'll actually work. And then when you're making backs payments, you've done that filelessly, the first of its kind within Dynamics. So really hope you like it. And if you have any other questions, then yeah, please do feel free to reach out and be happy to do a deep dive.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. Thank you, Laura. If you do have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or the comments, either LinkedIn or YouTube. Even if you're watching on demand, we will get notifications and we'll be happy to get in touch and answer them. Yeah, it's been an absolute delight to have both of you on. Yavrio are a long-time partner on Guide 365, and looking forward to what the future holds. Wonderful.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Cool. Thank you.